adopted in Chicago. Actually, the last one is true. I don't know if you saw that video, but she was with her boyfriend at the moment, and she randomly started licking a donut in front of her, but she didn't buy the donut, so it went really viral. And that's an interesting fact. But that was the last one was true. Thank you, Jolie. Next, we have Ed Sheeran, and it says he and Harry Styles have matching tattoos. Then we have he was rated worst dressed man in 2013. And lastly, we have even though he's from Irish descent, he was born in the United States. What do you think is the false one?
The last one, I think it's false.
Yes, great, Lisbeth. Thank you. The last one is false, actually. He was born in the UK. Great. And the last one, Billie Eilish. So the first statement is she used to be in love with Justin Bieber when she was 12. Then we have as a child, she was a model for Gap Kids. And lastly, we have she suffers from Tourette's syndrome.
The middle one?
The middle
Yes,
one.
the second one.
Yes, great. Yes, so the second one is false. Actually, Billie started in the industry because her dance teacher asked her to sing a song, and she uploaded it to SoundCloud, sorry, and the song went viral. But yeah, she never modeled for Gap Kids. Do you know what Tourette's syndrome is?
Yes.
Yes. Did you know that she has Tourette's syndrome?
I saw a video that she explained that she
Yeah.
controlled her Tourette's.
Yeah. Yeah, so for the ones that don't know, Tourette's is a syndrome in which a syndrome in which you cannot really control your body, and you have tics or like really like spasms or movements, really strong movements, or sometimes you just yell bad words. So she has it under control, so that's good for her. But there are other famous people that also have Tourette's, and they all learn how to control it. So this is an interesting fact. Thank you for participating. Now let's see the agenda. So we will start with dialects of English. I will show you two different dialects, not a comparison between them, but just mentioning them. So first I will talk about General Australian, and then we will watch a video and do an exercise. And next, we will talk about the New York English accent or New York accent. Then we will go on a short break, 10 minutes as usual. And after that, we will work on, you will work on your preparation for the report. And we, Professor Bruno and I, we will be checking your progress. So in the second half of the class, you will be given time to prepare your reports. Okay, so let's start with General Australian. Can I have someone reading? William, I haven't heard you reading in a long time. Are you there? Yes.
Yes,
Would you mind reading?
miss. Yes, miss.
Great, thank you.
General Australian. General Australian English is the most common accent in Australia. You will hear this accent in most suburban areas of the country. Additionally, General Australian English is the standard accent for most Australian media, television and film. This accent is not as strong as
William?
Yes?
I cannot hear you. I lost you in this accent. Can you repeat the last two lines, please?
Problems. Okay, this accent is...
Okay, don't worry, William, don't worry. I can read that. Well, thank you very much. It says, this accent is not as strong as Broad Australian, though it can still be characterized by nasality and distinct pronunciations. So basically, General Australian is different from the other types of Australian accents, given that it is the most common one, we could say, and it is commonly found in television, films, or media in general. And yes, that would be the main definition about general Australian accent. Next, we have the changes in pronunciation. So generally, the consonants are pronounced the same in Australian accent as they are in American English. However, there are some exceptions. Now, we have the letter R, and it says that if a word has the letter R in the last syllable, it usually is silent. So as example, we can take the word car. Instead of saying car with the R sound at the very end, it would become ka. So what is interesting here is that you might not know this, or you might already know this, but Australia used to be a colony from the British. Yes. So in pronunciation, the pronunciation is quite similar to the British accent or to British pronunciation. However, in written, there are some similarities with the American English. Then we have the letter T. In Australian English, the letter T is frequently softened, making a sound closer to an American D. So instead of saying letter really strong, they would say letter. So it sounds more like a D in the American pronunciation. And lastly, we have the nasality. So it says here that in Australian English, words have greater nasal resonance. Sorry. So though you wouldn't think that nasality has much to do with pronunciation, it has a huge impact on how words sound. So in Australian English, words have a greater nasal resonance. So for the example, as an example, we have here right, the word right. And in American English, we could say the word right. And then in Australian English, or in general Australian accent, we would say something like right. So it sounds interesting, but yeah, there is a huge difference in the way that words are pronounced. Now let's see. Do you have any questions before we move on? We can see some examples of the slang. So Australia, I would say it's really well known for their interesting slang. So they shorten all the words. So perhaps because they think it's easier to say them. But here we have some examples. And it's quite interesting to try to guess what the meaning is if we don't really look what's written after the arrow, because those are the real answers. But for instance, snag in Australia would be sausage. And that's, I would say, interesting. Some of the words are not really similar. Then we have stoked. You might have heard of this one, because I think it's maybe not really common, but I have heard it a lot before knowing that that it was used in Australia. So stoked means happy or pleased. And then we have Australia, which is the slang for Australia or Australia. Then we have footy, which is the slang for football. And then we have good day, which would be hello, or good day, could be both, but they use it commonly as hello. So these are interesting slang, and I selected, I would say, kind of the easier, because we will do an activity and we will try to guess what the meaning of several slang words are. So now let's watch a video, a short video of the Australian accent.
Generally speaking, there's three types of Australian accent. The first is the broad Australian accent, would be, say, for example, the typical Queensland accent, or the very strong Australian accent.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
The next would be the general Australian accent, which, for example, I speak. So it's a little bit more of a neutral, less strong Australian accent.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains.
And then there's the cultivated Australian accent, or the received pronunciation.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
So that's basically the three general types of Australian accent.
Okay, so we've established there is such a thing as the Australian accent. What we're going to do now is demonstrate exactly how to do it. There's someone here with any real luck.
I would visualize a long, flat line. You know, like on a musical sort of score. So a long, flat line, and you try and just keep your words going along that flat line. Don't go up and down, just long, flat line.
You have to imagine that your tongue is like lying over an exercise ball, like in your mouth. It's just like leaning back over an exercise ball, and you can't let it get too busy.
The Australian accent, when we actually start to teach an actor or teach someone how to do it, is based on the soft palate, the soft muscle at the top of the mouth, at the back of the mouth, actually starting to relax down. And you lose some of the height of it, which I'm actually doing now.
It's a very difficult accent to do because I think we've got the flattest R in the world, and that allows us to do almost everybody else's accent, because all we're doing is learning how to do something. We're not learning how to undo.
Well, if you take the particular sound R, A-H, R, and you asked a group of people to say that particular sound, and you were listening for their particular accent, and you took a few words, for example, ask, pass, and banana, and let's say you ask those particular words to be said by an American.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
An American would say ask, pass, and banana.
The tongue is so active in the American accent. So it's as a muscle, the tongue as a muscle is probably much more, you know, hyperactive than ours.
If you asked an Australian or a series of Australians to say those particular words, ask, pass, banana, you're going to have slight variations, of course, through the placement in the mouth.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
You might get something quite broad. Ask, pass, and banana.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
So you're going to get huge variations in that sound to say, this is the Australian sound, and is there one? Can we condense it to saying, this is the Australian accent, it's this sound?
Ask the master to pass the banana.
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 Ask the master.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
Ask the bastard to pass the bananas.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
Ask the master to pass the banana.
Okay, so there we had the different types of pronunciations in Australian accent. Now for practice, I will ask you to help me find the correct word for the slangs. So in what would be the first column, we have different words that are slang, and then next from A to J we have the correct words. So help me try to find the real words. So for hard yaka, what do you think the correct word would be? So we have breakfast, lots or many. We have toilet, we have flip-flops, sandals, barbecue, Christmas, hard work, awesome, umbrella, and beer. What do you think hard yaka means in Australian slang?
Hard work?
Could be.
Yes, that's correct. So we're gonna draw a line. Then we have Danny. What do you think Danny means? This one is kind of difficult because it is I know the meaning, and I cannot see any similarities with the words, so I think this one will be a bit difficult, but as a clue it sounds completely different from the slang word. So any ideas? Nope. Try to guess. Any guesses?
Flip-flops.
Okay, so Danny would be flip-flops. Okay, Then coldie. What a coldie? What would be a coldie?
A beer.
A beer, yes.
Yes, that's correct. So that is a beer. Then we have brekkie. What do you think a brekkie
The
is?
breakfast.
Yes, yes, that's correct. Brekkie. Sick.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes, that's correct. I think that one is more common, not that Australian exclusive. So good.
I think it's like a global English thing.
Yes, yes, that's right. Then we have Chrissy.
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yes, that's correct. That's Christmas. Then we have a Barbie.
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
Yes. Did you know that one?
No.
No, that well,
No.
it sounds similar, but yes, that's really interesting. So when they decide to do a barbecue, they would say, I mean, like, my accent is terrible, but let's imagine I'm saying, "Hey, mate, let's go to eat a Barbie." So it sounds really weird. Why would you eat a Barbie? That's like the doll. So really weird. Then we have thongs. What do you think thongs are? Any ideas?
Maybe loads. Loads many.
Okay,
Maybe.
let's use
I'm not
that
sure.
one. Okay, we will check them, so don't worry. Then we have a brolly.
Umbrella.
Umbrella.
Yes, yes, an umbrella. That's correct. And lastly, we have hips. So do you think hips matches toilet? Let's do it, and we will check them. So the answers are the following. Hard yaka was correct. That means hard work. Then we have a dani, which is a toilet. So they would call the toilet a dani, which is interesting. Then we have a coldie, which was correct. It is a beer. Then we have the brekkie, correct. It was a breakfast. Then we have sick, which is universal. Yes, so awesome. Chrissy, Christmas. That was correct. Barbie was actually a barbecue. That's correct as well. Then we have thongs. Any idea of what thongs means? Because this can be really tricky. If you say thongs in, let's say, America, North America, or American English, they would look at you kind of weirdly, to say the least. But thongs in Australian would be flip-flops or sandals. So that's interesting. Then we have a brolly, which is an umbrella. That was correct. And hips means loads, lots, or many. Different synonyms to say hips. So you did really good overall. I think we had only 2 incorrect answers, but the most of them were really, really good. So any questions regarding the Australian accent so far before we move into the New York dialect? Nope. Can I have some of you pronouncing this slang? So, for instance, Diane, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. Would you mind picking a random word and pronouncing it?
Crazy.
Okay. And how would you use that in a sentence? Try to think of an example.
I like when my family came to my house in Crazy.
Yes. Okay. So you like when your family come to your house and gather together for Christmas, right? Thank you, Diane. That's great. Then Nelson, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. So would you mind picking a word and creating a sentence?
Broly.
Okay.
Today is cloudy. I think I will need a Broly.
Yes, that's right. That's perfect. Thank you, Nelson. Next, can I have Camila Leon? Are you there? Camila Leon.
I think she has problem with her microphone.
Okay. Okay. Julie, would you mind creating the example for her and saying it on your own?
Okay.
Thank you.
Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I need to change I need to change the Dini because the one I have is broken.
Yes. So I need to change the Dani. Perfect. Thank you. And the last one, the last example. Any volunteers?
I can.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Perfect.
I would like to drink coldie.
Yes. So you would like to drink a beer. That's a great example. Thank you, Diane. So yes, that was interesting slang from the Australian accent. Then, okay, so even if you want to search up about Australian slang, you can find like huge lists. They have a lot of Australian slang. I found actually 100-word list of Australian slang, so that's really interesting. Now let's move on, sorry, into the New York accent. So the New York accent or dialect is one of the most recognizable American accents. So commonly is the one that it is kind of generalized because a lot of areas use the same accent. So here it says it refers to Greater New York and metropolitan area, which includes Long Island, Westchester County, the Lower Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and New Jersey. So it includes those 5 areas in which this specific dialect is spoken. Now, upstate New Yorkers have their own accents, which are entirely different from the stereotypical New York accent. So if you ever go to New York, or if you have been there, you might encounter different accents, right? So we would say that the New York dialect is the most recognizable one among the American accents. So let's see the changes in pronunciation. So first we have the addition of the W sound. So New Yorkers may add a W to vowels, and this is often done to words containing an A sound. A word like coffee would be pronounced like coffee, coffee. So there are slight changes like that. Then we have that they elongate vowels. So New Yorkers often alter the pronunciation of vowels by splitting them up into multiple syllables. In other words, they enlarge in vowels by splitting words into multiple syllables. So for instance, we have the word talk as an example, which would become like talk. So those are specific features of the New York accent. And then we have finally an emphasis on introductory syllables. So New Yorkers may stress the first syllable, whereas other dialects may stress the second. So for example, we have pecan, which is pronounced pecan, but with the New York accent, they would pronounce it like pecan. So emphasizing the first syllable in that word. Well, as an interesting fact, people with New York accents may add or drop or delete or elide the letter R at random. There is no specific rule, but for example, I saw it could become I saw it. So it would sound like they are using an intrusive R. Or the word doctor, instead of saying doctor with the R sound at the end, they could elide the R sound and they would say doctor. So which sounds similar to British accent or maybe Australian accent, but they actually use sometimes the intrusive R, or they just elide the R sound. It doesn't really have a specific rule for them to know when this happens. It's not like when it is followed by a vowel. No, it's not no specific rule. They just do it. So that is an interesting fact. Then we have the slang. So bodega, which sounds Spanish, would be a small shop or store. And this, I would say, it's easy for us to remember because bodega sounds like something that could be a small shop or a store, a bodega. Then we have WAP, and they use that word for trying when they are trying to say money. So give me the WAP. That sounds weird as well, but it is their slang. That's fair. Then we have whip. which is an expensive or luxurious car. So, for instance, let's imagine you have a friend and they come with a new car. You could say, "Oh, that's a really nice whip." So, really interesting slang. Next, we have tight, and that could be angry or mad, which could be confusing because tight is when something is tied, you know, the real meaning. But in New York accent, in New York slang, we would say that when someone is tight, this person is probably angry or mad. And lastly, we have brick, which is really cold or freezing. So how can we use this? Can anyone think of an example to use the word brick? So really cold or freezing? Any ideas? We could say perhaps it's brick outside. So all of this, yes. So all of this. Sorry, Jolie?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So all of these slang words might have really different meanings to the words. So it's not really the case for the Australian slang, where you could see that sometimes words are shortened or they just change different vowels or consonant and create kind of maybe not unknown words, but some of them are just created. But in this case, some of these words are real or have a specific meaning, and then they use it for something completely different. Okay, so let's watch a short video. Give me a sec. Yes.
Nothing for nothing.
Nothing for nothing.
So you don't think that's an accent?
No, it's New York. That's the way we speak. Forget about it.
How is it New Yorkers have no problem saying the truth, but they're in denial about hearing the truth about how they sound?
Died.
How you doing?
Get the out of my car.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Well, Bronx native Heather Quinlan is investigating just that with her new documentary exploring the roots of various New York accents.
When people think New York accents, they think more Italian New York accents, like Robert De Niro or...
You've been breaking my balls for about an hour, asking me about every goddamn accessory in this car.
Heather went in thinking that accents differed from neighborhood to neighborhood and borough to borough. Is there a Brooklyn Heights accent that's different from a Canarsie or an East New York accent?
It's a little more bourgeois, more landowner type of accent.
But what this Irish American discovered is that the New York accent is more ethnic than geographic.
Oil would be Earl. Santa Claus with Santa Claus. I have a tinge of an Irish New York accent, and I think it's actually more nasal. It's sort of Jimmy Cagney, sort of Archie Bunker.
Don't listen to him. He's a kind of a meathead, Mr. Davis.
I was friends with a lot of Italians, and I'm Puerto Rican. They can't tell, so they always thought I was Italian.
These Argentinian tourists are convinced that every Jewish woman from New York sounds like Fran Drescher.
When I see someone that speaks like the nanny, I can tell that it's from New York.
You really do talk like that. Who would make this up?
I don't say talking, I say talking.
Well, you can mispronounce things once in a while.
I say Florida, not Florida. But if this theory holds true, why is it I could fool New Yorkers into thinking I'm a native?
You have a sense of confidence. That's why they think you're from New York.
Not for nothing, but Heather hopes everyone will walk away with the same message.
Even though the accent might come off at first as sort of ugly and gruff, there's a certain beauty about it and a certain charm that's the same as New Yorkers.
I must have like the thickest Brooklyn accent in the world because people know where I'm from automatically.
Emily Francis, Pix 11 News.
Good. Now I will play this again and I will ask you to pick a specific sentence that they use to show the accent. So try to remember a specific sentence because we will listen to it again and I will ask you if you could notice any specific kind of accent. So try to do it, okay? Here we go again.
Nothing for nothing.
Nothing for nothing.
So you don't think that's an accent?
No. It's New York. That's the way we speak. Forget about it.
How is it New Yorkers have no problem saying the truth, but they're in denial about hearing the truth about how they sound?
Died.
How you doing?
Get the out of my car.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Well, Bronx native Heather Quinlan is investigating just that with her new documentary exploring the roots of various New York accents.
When people think New York accents, they think more Italian New York accents, like Robert De Niro or...
You've been breaking my balls for about an hour, asking me about every goddamn accessory in this car.
Heather went in thinking that accents differed from neighborhood to neighborhood and borough to borough. Is there a Brooklyn Heights accent that's different from a Canarsie or an East New York accent?
It's a little more bourgeois, more landowner type of accent.
But what this Irish American discovered is that the New York accent is more ethnic than geographic.
Oil would be Earl. Santa Claus was Santy Claus. I have a tinge of an Irish New York accent, and I think it's actually more nasal. It's sort of Jimmy Cagney, sort of Archie Bunker.
Don't listen to him. He's a kind of a meathead, Mr. Davis.
I was friends with a lot of Italians. And I'm Puerto Rican. They can't tell. So they always thought I was Italian.
These Argentinian tourists are convinced that every Jewish woman from New York sounds like Fran Drescher.
When I see someone that speaks like the nanny, I can tell that it's from New York.
You really do talk like that. Who would make this up?
I don't say talking, I say talking.
Well, you can mispronounce things once in a while.
I say Florida, not Florida. But if this theory holds true, why is it I could fool New Yorkers into thinking I'm a native?
You have a sense of confidence. That's why they think you're from New York.
Not for nothing, but Heather hopes everyone will walk away with the same message.
Even though the accent might come off at first as sort of ugly and gruff, there's a certain beauty about it and a certain charm that's the same as New Yorkers.
I must have like the thickest Brooklyn accent in the world because people know where I'm from automatically.
Emily Francis, Pix 11 News.
Great. Were you able to find a sentence? Could any of you give me a sentence that if you could spot one? Where the answer? Yes.
I could find some word, and also I think I find like two sentences. I don't know if they are correct.
Yes. Go on.
Like for example, the word oil, and the other one was Santa Claus. To Santa Claus, I think.
Yeah. Santa Claus, right? Yes, Santa Claus. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Jolie, yes, go on.
No, it's okay. Let me give the opportunity to another one.
No, but that's fine. We will ask another person after. So if you want to say something, go on.
Like he meant like he said like forget about it, something like that. I don't know if this is sentence, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
The other one was like the one who said like how you doing.
Yes.
He didn't say
I wanted
like
to mention that one. Thank you, Jolie. Because have you watched Friends, the TV show? Have you ever watched that TV show? No, none of you really? Am I that old? Okay, so
I'm really looking for it, but I have never watched it.
Okay, you should. It's really fun. It's like a really light TV show to watch, and it is supposed to happen in Manhattan or in New York. In New York, you have a coffee called the Central Park, so it sounds like the Central Park, and there's a specific character there that he's very known for saying "How you doing?" So I thought that maybe some of you could notice that one, but maybe you are too young. Maybe, maybe. If you haven't watched it, maybe you should. It's really fun. But anyways, thank you, Jolie, for your sentences. Any other person? Maybe Valentina Negrete, are you there? Valentina? Okay. Diana, are you there? Could any of you find a sentence besides Jolie? Was it difficult to listen to a sentence in the audio? Come on. Participation. Really, guys? Okay, that's fine. Let's thank you, Jolie. Let's move into the practice. So here we have the same activity as we did previously with the Australian slang, but now we will try to use to identify the meaning behind this slang. So The first one, we have kid or son. When do New Yorkers use this? So it could be to refer to New York City, or could be to be very aggressive, or it could mean to buy or purchase, or a caring term for a close friend. Plural of you could mean sweat, could mean desperate for something, could mean to act crazy, could be really or very, or could be dirty or unclean. What do you think?
I think that's a caring term for close friend.
Yes, that's correct, Camilo. Very well done. So letter D. The next one. This one is kind of weird, but it is Schwitz. And what do you think this means? So we have...
I think it's sweat.
Yes, that's perfect. Yes, that's correct. So it actually means sweat. Then we have dumb. What do you think dumb means?
To act crazy.
Okay.
Or to be aggressive, one of the two. I'm between those
Okay,
two.
good. Sounds aggressive, right? Yes. Let's see. So let's use the to act crazy. I almost lost it. Yes. Then we have Gotham. What do you think Gotham means in New York slang? Any ideas? So this is actually related to what does Gotham sound to you? Do you recognize that word?
City?
Yes. So
Sounds
what?
like Batman.
Yes, it is related to Batman actually. So what do you think could be the meaning of Gotham?
New York City?
That's correct. Yes. So they use that one as a kind of joke among them. So they refer to New York City as Gotham. Then we have thirsty. What do you think thirsty means?
Desperate for something.
Yes, exactly. I think that's quite global. Desperate for something. Yes. So I think that one is quite global, and you could say, oh, he's or she's thirsty for fame, or different things, and I think that is common. Then we have spas. What do you think spas means?
To be aggressive. Very aggressive.
Yes, Fernanda, actually, that's correct. I didn't know that one before I researched, so that's very good. A good eye. Then we have use.
Plural of you.
Yes, correct, Diana. Perfect. So plural of you. That was a terrible line. Then we have cop. What do you think cop means? Any ideas?
I think it's like buy something.
Yes, that is correct. So it is to buy or purchase. Then we have bagging. Bagging. What do you think bagging could mean? So we have two left. Okay, maybe you can know what crusty is. Do you know what crusty is?
Maybe
Any
really
idea?
very?
Really berry? Okay, let's
Just
check.
maybe.
Maybe could be. We have that one, and then oh, sorry, no. It was my bad. It was the other one. So bagging would be dirty and unclean because it is the remaining one, and then crusty would be really and berry. Thank you. So let's check the answers. We have that kid or son is actually for it is a caring term for a close friend. So that was correct. Then we have schwitz, which actually was sweat. Very well done. Then we have dumb, which is really or very. Interesting. Interesting because it doesn't sound at all like something that we would use to describe really or very, but that's their slang. Then we have Gotham, which was correct. It is New York City. Then we have thirsty, was also correct, and it means desperate for something. Then we have spas, which means to be very aggressive. So spas, yes, it would be to be very aggressive towards someone. Then we have use, which is the plural of you. That was correct. Then we have cop. Cop actually means buy or purchase something. And then we have bagging, which would be to act crazy. And lastly, crusty would be dirty. Now, crusty is commonly found as very mean word to say to someone. So I have heard some people saying that crusty old man, which means that old man is very dirty. So I have heard that one before, but some of them were actually new to me. Now, can you create sentences as we did before? Just a couple. Any volunteers to pick a sentence and create? To pick a slang word and create a sentence.
Maybe that's dumb expensive.
That sorry again.
That's dumb expensive.
Yes, yes. So that's really expensive. Perfect. Thank you, Camilo. Another example. Anyone? Lisbeth, are you there? Lisbeth? Yes. Would you mind giving us an example with any word?
My room is very crusty. I don't know.
Okay, yes, that's correct. Yes, so your brother is really dirty. That's fine. Then the last one. Any volunteers? I think I haven't heard Catalina Rosales. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, miss.
Yes, would you mind giving us an example?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
With any word. It doesn't matter if they already use the word.
My cat is bugging.
Okay, okay, yes. Okay, your act is sorry, your cat is acting crazy, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So before we go into the break, I thought of giving you the instructions after, but let's do it before. Now, do you have any questions regarding your task, your report that you are supposed to prepare for in the second half of the class? Do you have any questions? So we're gonna read the instructions, and I'm gonna read them for you. And if you have any questions, you can ask us. So you are crystal clear on what you have to do. So first we have in pairs pick two dialects from different circles in the Catcher's model, right? And you are expected to describe and compare the dialects. So that's the basis of the task, right? Picking or selecting two different dialects. Then we have some information you can include among other you think it is relevant would be historical background. So was the country a colony of Britain's, as I mentioned with the Australian example? So was it a colony of Britain's? How long has it been independent? Was any other language spoken before, such as Spanish, Italian, etc.? What is the population there? So you have different historical background that you can use in that specific point to include more information. Then we have languages. Which or how many languages are spoken in that country? That could be really useful to contextualize your report. Then we have speakers. How many speakers of English or other languages are there? Is there a second language, sorry, or are many English speakers? Is it common to speak English, for example? Depends on the dialect that you chose, right? Then we have characteristics of the dialect. What are pronunciation characteristics, vocabulary characteristics, or grammar characteristics? As I gave you examples of the Australian, general Australian or New York accent, I told you where the changes were in pronunciation, so you use that as an example, maybe not. It's up to you. Then we have a sample analysis, so provide examples and contrast. Now, the oral report has to last up to 10 minutes. And we also have, regarding the task instructions as well, that you need to log in at least 10 minutes before your presentation, and you need to make sure that you have tested your, that you have, yes, make sure you have tested your presentation before, and that each of the presenter has a copy of the presentation. So the idea here, I would say that it is that you don't show up to the presentation and you say, oh, the problem is that Pepito was supposed to bring the presentation. So try to both of you have the presentation, or maybe you know what happens with online classes, that sometimes the computer stop working, or you don't have, or you have problems with your presentation. So several things can happen. So try to be ahead of all those problems. Then right here we have the spreadsheets. So in case you haven't registered, it's not really useful, that link, but I can copy it on onto the chat box. But that would be it, I would say. Do you have any questions before we move into the Oh, Catalina Rosales says, I love Joey. I didn't check the chat before. I'm sorry. He is from France, and he is the character that was saying, how you doing? How you doing? So thank you, Catalina. But yes, so coming back into the task instructions, do you have any questions? Any questions regarding what the task is in general, or, you know, any type of question? It is now the perfect time to ask them.
Miss?
Yes?
You mean like we have to prepare a presentation for now, right?
Let me drink the water. Sorry. So you will be given the second half of the class for you to prepare the presentation. You don't have to present now. You will present on the schedule that you selected. But we're giving you this time so you are able to ask the questions that you need, and we are able to check that you are doing your progress correctly. So so it's best for you if we can help you maybe in the questions that you have, so you don't come to the presentation confused, right?
Yes, actually, I was thinking to stay with one of you, maybe teacher Bruno, the professor Bruno, you at the end of the class. But if you're going to, if you are going to do it in that way, I don't know, because
Yes. We will help you. You have questions?
Yes, because I have recorded some information.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm going to talk about Jamaican English.
Good.
And I have some specific question that I need to know.
Okay, so what we can do, sorry, Jolie, what we can do is that because we will do as we usually do, that you will go into breakout groups, but the difference here is that you will not have to send us the link. So we are creating the groups for you. So if Professor Bruno is there and is willing to help, he will create the breakout groups, because I don't have them. Yes, thank you, Professor. So we will be checking your progress. So if you have questions, you can ask the questions to Professor or me, to the teacher or me, when we get into your breakout groups. That's fine, Julie? Yes?
Yes, that's
great.
great.
Okay, and maybe if you have general questions at the end or at any moment, we can share them with everyone, because sometimes happens that maybe we are shy to ask something. That usually happens, and it's really common. It shouldn't happen, because it is, I would like to think that we are in a safe environment to learn, but it happens, and that's okay. That maybe we are shy to ask something, or maybe we think that the teacher already mentioned this. But okay, so if you have questions, you can ask them throughout the second half of the class. But first we will go on a short break. So 10 minutes. So please be back at, I would say at 2 to 6. Yeah, so 5:58 or 6. So we can start working together. Okay, so let's see each other at at the end of the break.
Okay, miss.